What's up, guys? Good morning. It's 8 o'clock. Ports are real. We got Pokemon ports on the Switch. We got Fire Red and Leaf Green coming, kind of being surprise dropped, and they are coming to the Switch systems. I pre-ordered Leaf Green this morning. I want to talk about this a little bit. I want to talk about these ports. I want to talk about some of the facts, and then I want to talk about. I guess I have some opinions about the whole situation, and then I would also like to do later in the video some some predictions for Pokemon Day and what could come next. First off, I'll say I love Fire Red and Leaf Green. I think these are really, really great games. I think as time has passed, and the Pokemon Company agrees with this. These remakes have low-key become the definitive version of the Kanto experience. Fire Red and Leaf Green. Well, let me back up a little bit, right? Okay, Fire Red and Leaf Green. They are coming to Nintendo Switch, as you know, you can get them on the eShop. Reportedly, these games are also going to be compatible with Pokemon Home, which is pretty cool. I think that's a huge win. I think a big part of these games is that they should be in conversation with other Pokemon games. They should also be in, you should have that ability to move those Pokemon from those games into Home, into your other video games, and I guess more relevant, in a situation that's a little bit more relevant. I think what's really cool is Fire Red and Leaf Green coming out also means that you can take all of those Kanto Pokemon, bring them into Home, and now play with them in Champions, which is pretty cool. Yeah, that's nice. It seems like this is a big one. This is a big one. Listen, if you're new to the channel, I've been advocating for Pokemon ports forever. It's something that is near and dear to my heart. It's an easy ask to get ports. I've been drinking the copium for a long time. I'm really happy that we are getting these games, on Switch systems. And I guess for me, why ports are special, or I guess, yeah, what's the big deal about Fire Red and Leaf Green? What's the big deal about ports? I feel like I get this question all the time. Even this morning, when this information was kind of like shadow dropped, I feel like I've been seeing plenty of people still to this day just like bragging that they can like emulate the game on some like obscure device. That's great. I also see a lot of people complaining about these games being $20. Sure. I don't know. I'm pretty bored with the monetary conversation. I feel like it is so subjective, and I feel like the conversation is never actually in the conversation is actually never aligned with, like, no one's also bringing up specifically why they don't think the game is worth whatever a game is worth, right? Like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, if you don't think it's worth $20, do you think it's $10? Do you think it's $5? Do you just want it for free? I would love everything for free. I guess I don't really understand the conversation about price. I don't really want to get into that too much today, but yeah, I feel like the price conversation is just kind of like it's missing the point for me. I don't know. I'm like, if you want to emulate these games, go do it. If you want to buy these physical cartridges online, sure, go spend a couple $100s to get these games in a Game Boy or a DS. You can go do that. That's actually going to be more money. Not everyone has these. Not everyone has access to these. Also, I don't think kids, the adults, sure. This is like that. Okay, I'm just ripping into it now. I feel like the people who are complaining, if you're complaining or if you're bragging that you can emulate any sort of classic Pokemon game, if that's your thing, like, it really it comes off like an adult bragging to a 7-year-old, right? Or I guess the way I think about it, I feel like I'm so off topic. The way I think about it, it's like a health bro scolding, or like a granola person like scolding someone for eating out. Like, why would you eat out? Why would you spend $50 on a night out? Why would you? $100, really. Like, it costs money to eat out. But it's like, why would you ever go out? Why would you ever go out? Why would you ever go to a fast food restaurant? You can just make that at home. It's literally that guy who's like, we have this at home, Some of us don't want to just eat boiled chicken with salt and rice. Some people don't want to eat that. Some people, like, that could sustain you. Throw in some vegetables. That could sustain you. That's what you're advocating for when you're like, well, I can emulate this, right? There's a convenience to getting ports on modern consoles. There's a convenience to it. And I'm pumped. I really am pumped. There's a convenience for this. Where I come down on this, right, is I think Pokemon games are social games. Like, I think too many people judge Pokemon games based on the single player experience, and I never have ever wanted to complain, or I've never had a bad experience when I'm playing Pokemon with friends, whether I'm playing alongside them, right? One of my favorite experiences with Fire Red and Leaf Green specifically, but with Pokemon specifically, was about a year ago. And I played through these games with my buddy, and we did a thing where I was training a Machop, he was training a Geodude, we leveled them up, we traded them, and then I ended up with his Golem, which was now my Golem, and he ended up with my Machamp, and that was really weird. I guess I've never done a trade like that, the way trades are actually supposed to be, which is you trade, you have to make a sacrifice for that trade. And it was so much fun. My God, it was just too much fun. It was just too much fun to actually, I don't know. It was just a really, really good playthrough. And I think this is kind of, okay, this is where I kind of get on my high horse. Not even a high horse. This has nothing to do with that being there's no horses involved. But I think where I come down on ports, the reason why I think they're so special is you can play these games by yourself. I literally play these games all the time by myself. On my phone, I've got a bunch of DS systems over there. I play these games by myself, but it's pretty isolating. And when I get excited about something in my save file, yes, I'm having that fun, that introverted experience alone. That is fine. But it is 1,000 times more special when other people are sharing, like when they're going through the same adventure at the same time. And when these Pokemon games, Fire Red and Leaf Green, are in this, like, these games are in the zeitgeist now. Millions of people are going to be playing these games at the exact same time, which I think is like, it's an event. You can't capture that. You can't just. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like that like when we all play a new generation, when Generation 10 is announced, right? And I think that's why they actually released Fire Red and Leaf Green, like why they announced these early, to kind of get the hype out of the way, so next week all the hype can be on Gen 10. But when Gen 10 gets announced and there's the hype cycle all year long, and when the games actually come out, we're all going to be experiencing that all together. And I think, I think we kind of don't realize that it's the shared experience that actually makes these moments so nostalgic. And Fire Red and Leaf Green, now that they're being ported, this is great. I really am excited. I'm going to be playing through these again. I played Leaf Green for the first time last year. I played Fire Red my whole life. I only had that one, but I got Leaf Green. I played it last year. I downloaded Leaf Green, or I pre-ordered it on the eShop. I'm going to be playing this. I'm going to be playing Leaf Green. I want to play it with friends. I want to get other people's experiences. My niece never played this. I have friends. I see comments all the time. So I saw a comment online and someone said, why is there Braille? Why is there Braille instructions inside because there's a physical release of these games in Japan. Let's see if I can find an example right here. Yeah. Pretty cool, right? I mean, it's just a bunch of cardboard. And I don't really care too much about the this collector object. I think it would be mostly cool to just have like the physical boxes, but that's cardboard. I can get that. I could just get that online probably. But regardless, this is cool, right? This is really cool. Where was I going with this? I'm sorry. It's early. I got up at like 5 a.m. I'm going to New York this weekend. What was I saying? Oh my gosh. Anyways, I think it's going to be really nice for everyone to be playing these all at once. I think that's going to be really special. Yeah, I don't know. I really am excited. I really am excited. And I guess where I want to take the conversation next, right, is I think, yeah, okay, so we got Pokemon Day, right? We got Pokemon Day next. And I think Fire Red and Leaf Green is kind of like I am happy with that. Like, if we were going to get Kanto, I'm glad we got Fire Red and Leaf Green. But I really can't help but think, like, I'm pumped. I am excited. I know on the podcast, I know on Hidden Power I was saying, like, I was kind of split. But I am excited to get Fire Red and Leaf Green. But as we move forward, I really am expecting maybe mid-year Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. And if not this summer, next Pokemon Day, which would be fine. I guess I just feel a little bit empty. It's like after 30 years, we get a climax, right? It's like the end of a show, right? And they're like, guess what? We're introducing the first character. And that's the climax. And you're like, this is the finale. You're like, what are we talking about? Like, let's get to the end. You know? I want to enjoy all these things, all of these games. I think there is a desire by the Pokemon Company, to have these games be accessible. Obviously, they don't want to release every single game ever at all times, because then that, like, prevents the newer games. There's a supply and demand here. And if they give us every game ever ported at all times on Switch 2, then, like, there's too much supply, right? I mean, I think for those who want it would be able to get it, but, like, I think there's a supply and demand game here going on. Yeah, man. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm happy with Fire Red and Leaf Green. This is cool. I'm pumped. That's awesome. We got a Kanto game on Switch 2. This is fun. But I also think, you know what I'm realizing also? This is a game that people can get on Switch because Gen 10 is only going to be on Switch 2, which is kind of weird. But I am expecting more ports. I am expecting more ports to come. I am expecting more ports at some point. But I'm happy with this. I really am. This is a step in the right direction. And this whole game is also HD. Like, I feel like we haven't even talked about that. This whole game is going to be like an HD. It's like so clean. So clean. That's awesome. Oh, I'm also excited. I'm also really glad that Fire Red and Leaf Green, these ports are not on, like, I'm glad these are standalone purchases. I am so glad they're not on Switch Online. I never wanted them on NSO. Never wanted that at all. All right. This is and I'll say this now. What we don't know, we know Fire Red and Leaf Green are going to be ported, right? But what we don't know is if there's going to be any sort of changes in the actual games. And when I say changes, I mean event items like the Aurora ticket, the Mystic ticket. This could allow players to get access to Lugia, Ho-Oh, and Deoxys. I've covered this on the main channel. I've covered this on the podcast. On Nintendo Music, on that app, they did include Deoxys' theme song. I'm pretty sure Deoxys is obviously a Generation 3 Hoenn Pokemon, but its different forms were only available in Fire Red and Leaf Green. And I think similar to the Generation 2, the Pokemon Crystal port on the 3DS, in the way that they, in that game, made Celebi and the GS Ball available for the first time globally, I think we could be seeing a similar situation with Deoxys, where Deoxys could be found or accessible. At least Deoxys could be accessible in these games in post-game. And they just basically activate whatever the event is. And I think the way to get Celebi in Crystal version, it was basically like you had to beat Red or something. You had to, like, beat the game. There was some sort of, like, check mark. There was a checkpoint where all of a sudden Professor Elm or whoever would call you, give you the GS ball, and then you were able to get Celebi. I think we're going to see something similar. And Deoxys is basically found in the Sevi Islands, which I also haven't even talked about. The Sevi Islands, like, Fire Red and Leaf Green is the definitive version of the Kanto experience. If you don't like Let's Go because it's a little gimmicky and red, blue, and yellow is just too old school, Fire Red and Leaf Green is the sweet spot. I've said this before. The alternative is, like, again, if you're not happy with this, like, what did you want? If you wanted a remake, but you don't actually just want to pay for a port, the alternative is a $60, a $70 faithful remake by Ilka. And I would much rather take this because it's sprite-based. I'm so pumped. I really am excited to play this again. Lugia and Ho-Oh they are also in Fire Red and Leaf Green, but I think it's an event that's kind of carried over from Emerald or Ruby and Sapphire. So Lugia and Ho-Oh might not be in this game, but we might not know. I mean, we won't know until the games are actually out, but I'm pumped. That's exciting. That's super exciting. Let me know if you're going to be picking up this game. I'm excited. I really am excited. This could be the start of something really good. I love playing these games. It is getting harder and harder to easily play these games. I'm pumped. I really am I'm excited. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. Let me know. And subscribe. I know I've been a little absent the last week. Pokemon Day is coming. I will be doing full coverage right here on the channel. I've got new videos coming out on the main channel, podcasts, live streams every single week on Hidden Power Podcast. There's plenty of content. I'll be here. I'll be here a little bit more frequently. Again, doing full coverage of Gen 10 and Pokemon Day. We're gonna have a lot to talk about. We're gonna have a lot to talk about. I'll see you guys very soon. Subscribe. Have a great weekend. I'm going to New York. I'm getting some pizza. I'm getting some Korean barbecue. All right, see ya.